Hi guys, and welcome to another Gas City Gaming Warhammer 40k Codex review. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Death Guard Codex. I know it's a little bit after, but we got some time now to absorb it, learn about it, play with it. This review is going to be a little different than our index reviews. We're going to be taking a look at the book piece by battlefield role. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at kind of the faction abilities, as well as the HQ slots and our choices for that, and how we can use them on the tabletop. So let's get started. Taking a look first at the Lords of the Plague Planet, so some of their special abilities. The following abilities are common to several Death Guard units. They have Death to the False Emperor. Each time you roll a hit roll of 6 or more for a model with this ability in the fight phase, it can, if it was targeting an Imperium unit, immediately make an extra attack against the same unit using the same weapon. These extra attacks cannot themselves generate any further attacks, so no going infinite, which I'm fine with, rules, right? This is really good, especially if you're playing against any kind of Imperium army. Definitely with the Astra Militarum book coming out, you're probably going to be seeing some of those. So this is something you'll be taking advantage of. Note that it says 6+, so if you happen to have any +1 to your hit rolls or anything like that, then you're going to be rolling more attacks on 5 or 6s against those Imperium armies. So it could definitely become big. Do not forget about this rule. A lot of people have. Plague Weapon. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for a weapon with this ability. If you're within your range of your Lord, you're going to be re-rolling, wow, I can't talk today, hit and wound rolls of 1 if you have Plague Weapons, if you're within range of your Lord. So the more re-rolling, the better. Just gives you more chance of wounding against your opponent, which I'm in favor of. I think we should all be in favor of that. Demonic Ritual. This is something similar carried over from the Demon book, but instead of moving in their movement phase, any Death Guard character can, at the end of their movement phase, attempt to summon a Nurgle demon unit with this ability by performing a demonic ritual. The character cannot do so if they arrived as reinforcements this turn, so no deep striking in and then summoning demons in the same turn. Roll up to 3 dice. This is your summoning roll. You can summon one new Nurgle demon unit with the demonic ritual ability to the battlefield that has a power rating equal to or less than the total result. This unit is treated as reinforcements for your army and can be placed anywhere on the battlefield that is entirely within 12 inches of the character and more than 9 inches from any enemy model. If total rolls is insufficient to summon any unit, the unit ritual fails and no new unit is summoned. Keep in mind, though, you still have to, if you're playing a competitive game or even a points game against your opponent, you have to use either those points, those power points, or the actual points cost, the competitive points cost of those units. You have to set those aside if you're building a 100 power level game or a 1500 point game. You have to set those points aside for your summoning now. If your summoning roll includes any doubles, your character then suffers a mortal wound. If it includes any triples, instead it suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay, there we go. Each time a model, so we also have Disgusting the Resilient, which is the really good thing for Death Guard. Each time a model with this ability loses a wound, roll a dice. On a 5+, the model does not lose that wound. So it's kind of like if you played against Necrons in 7th edition, their reanimation protocols got busted. It was just really couldn't kill them off the table. You could beat them in a objective-based game, but it was really hard to wipe them off the table. So Disgustingly Resilient, though, how that works is, say, if somebody's shooting at you with a las cannon with d6 damage. Now, say they're probably going to negate your armor save, but if for some reason you still get a 6 up and you fail that, then they roll their d6 damage. They do 3 or 4 damage to you. You then roll 3 or 4 dice going for your Disgustingly Resilient save. So maybe you only take 2 or 3 damage off that instead. But you roll your Disgustingly Resilient saves after you know how much damage you're going to suffer, and you roll a Disgustingly Resilient die for each damage, and then negate it that way. Hopefully, that's the idea. Death Guard Warrior lists. So many of the units you'll find in the following pages reference one or more of the warrior lists below. When this is the case, the unit may take any item from the appropriate list. So our combi weapons that you may take when we are referencing those are Combi Bolter, Combi Flamer, Combi Melta, or Combi Plasma. Our combi weapons cost, for our Combi Bolter, it is 2 points, Combi Flamer is 11 points, Combi Melta is 19, and Combi Plasma is 15 points. If you don't know what you're playing, I'm usually, depending on the role you want the squad to perform, I'm either bringing Melta or Plasma personally. If you know you might come up against something a little more Horde-like, like Guard, or like Tyranids, for example, I might bring the Flamer, but if I'm bringing a couple of squads with combi weapons, one's probably going to have the Plasma and one be the Melta, or maybe split one each in a squad, something like that, but those are the ones I'm usually bringing. Keep in mind the new Kami weapons, or newer, if you're kind of just getting into 8th edition, you can now fire both sides whenever you want. Just both sides suffer a -1 to their hit rolls. They would hit normally on 3s, they would hit on 4s instead, but you can fire both sides. Our melee weapon options are Bale Sword, Chain Axe, Lightning Claw, Power Axe, Power Fist, Power Maul, and Power Sword. A Bale Sword, as far as points cost is concerned, costs 6 points. A Chain Axe costs 1 point. A Lightning Claw costs 8 points for one, or 12 for a pair. A Power Axe costs 5 points. A Power Fist costs 12 points. Power Maul is 4 points, and a Power Sword is 4 points. The Terminator melee weapons is pretty similar, but we have a Chain Fist instead of a Chain Axe. The Chain Fist coming in at 22 points. So all those, when we reference melee weapon list, combat weapons list, Terminator melee weapons list, those are the things we're talking about. Lovely image. So our first HQ roll we're going to come into is our Demon Prince of Nurgle. Now he comes in at 8 power points, or 146 points on his own, but that does not include the cost of war gear. Now, a Demon Prince of Nurgle is a single model armed with a Hellforged sword and a set of Malefic Talons. It can replace its Hellforged sword with a Demonic Axe or a second set of Malefic Talons. No matter how you kit this guy out, he's never going to be more than 156 points yet. The controversy in that comes with this model with the line, this model may have wings, power rating +1 if you do, so power rating 9. If it does, its move characteristics increase to 12 inch and it gains a fly keyword. But it doesn't list anywhere in the points values how much those wings cost as far as competitive points go. So rules is written, is it free? Or can you not bring it because it's not listed in the points values? As of the filming of this, we don't know. Maybe by the time you guys are watching it, it does say if so, please comment in the section below. But right now, we have no idea. So as the stat line goes right now, he can move 8 inches, hits ranged and melee on 2s, strength 7, toughness 6, 8 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 10, and a 3-up save. So he's under 8 wounds, so he can't be single targeted. 4 attacks isn't nothing, but 7 attacks with 2 pairs of Malefic Talons seems real nice. Leadership 10, of course, not a problem there, and a 3-up save. So what I see now that they have that 3-up save, you don't have to bring Warp Forged Armor and pay more points to get a 3-up save on a demon. So his Demonic Axe is a model, is a weapon you could possibly replace the Hellforged Sword with. It's strength, so these are all melee weapons. Strength +1, AP -3 and 3 damage. When attacking with it, you must subtract 1 from the hit roll. Hellforged Sword is strength user, AP -3 and 3 damage. No abilities on that. And the Malefic Talons are strength user, AP -2, 2 damage. Each time a model with Malefic Talons fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. Model armed with 2 sets of Malefic Talons can make 3 additional attacks with them instead. Now, its special abilities, before we get into the tactics, are Death to the False Emperor and disgustingly resilient. It's demonic, so it has a 5-up invuln save. It's a Prince of Chaos, so you can reroll hit rolls of 1 made for friendly Death Guard and Nurgle demon units within 6 inches of this model. Look at that, it's a Death Guard, and it's Nurgle, and it's a demon, so you can reroll its own ones as well. It's also a Psyker. The model can attempt to manifest 1 psychic power in each friendly psychic phase, and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in each enemy psychic phase. It knows Smite and 1 additional power from the Contagion discipline, which if you want to see the psychic powers and things, check out our other video on that coming out. So, my personal feels on tactics with this guy is plotting up the field, throwing out Smite, obviously, that's what he's going to do, but if he want him to get engaged in melee, like he has his 5-up invuln with a 5-up ignore damage roll as well, in addition to his 3-up save, if you're getting kind of pot-shotted at, but what I want him to do is just wade in there and start chopping heads off. Now, again, if you know what you're going up against, so my buddy, all he has is Space Marines, so okay, what do I want to do with that? The +1 strength under the Demonic Axe, turning him into strength 8, means he wounds those Marines on a 2, right? Keep in mind, yes, it says -1 to hit, but you get to reroll your hit rolls of 1. So it depends what you want to do. You can go that route, where, yes, it's easier to wound, but it's harder to hit. So it's kind of just a wash a little bit. But let's say, okay, 4 attacks, rolling, hits on 2s, so theoretically we might miss 1. If we do, it's going to be a 1, so we get to re-roll it, and we should make all 4, realistically. So there, we hit with everything, right? If we subtract 1, okay, we're hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1, so we have to roll a 2. We might, out of 2 rolls, out of 2 sets of attacks, we might miss 1, in which case, If it's a 2, assuming we hit our 1 again. If it's a 2, might make it. I don't like to math hammer, but sometimes that just makes sense. So again, if you're going up against something with a lot of toughness 4, like Space Marines, or a lot of vehicles, like Space Marines, taking the Demonic Axe might make sense, because it's easier to wound, better AP, and just flat 3 damage. If you're going up something that's a little more horde-ish, the case can be made to take it up against toughness 4 stuff as well. You may want to take the Twin Malefic Talons, because getting 3 additional attacks, so 7 attacks base then, could come in handy. And it's a -2 to the save, still turns their 3-up into a 5-up, and they often won't get a disgustingly resilient against that. It's just a 5-up, so most of them are going to go through. And again, you're hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, so that seems really good still as well. So I might personally lean towards, depending what you're doing again, I am personally probably going to take the Demonic Axe and 1 set of Malefic Talons, so I kind of have that trade-off. I'll have 5 attacks with the Malefic Talons, or I can have 4 attacks that's hitting a little bit harder. So, again, for Take All Comers list, I would take a Demonic Axe and a set of Malefic Talons. But that's me. If you know what you're playing against, go take the Demonic Axe, and if you know what you're playing against, you might want to take the Demonic Axe as well, like for your Space Marines. If you know you're going up against something Horde, though, for sure, I would just take the Malefic Talons without a question. Sorry, the Twin Malefic Talons without a question. And, of course, down below here, we have our lovely image of him. So he doesn't have wings in the picture either. I don't know. It's going to be an argument for a while until they FAQ that. Now we have Typhus, and the Lord of the Death Guard. His power rating is 9. Typhus can move 4 inches, weapon skill, bless skill hitting on 2, strength 4, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and 2-up save. Typhus himself, he's not actually listed in the book either. You have to go all the way back to the index to get his points cost, as far as I could tell. He is 164 points, though, including all his gear, so no worries there. A lot of the named characters include their gear. So Typhus is a single model, armed with a Mastercrafted Man Reaper, the Destroyer Hive, and Blight Grenades, and only one may be included in your army. The Destroyer Hive is a 6-inch range, pistol of 2d6, strength 4, AP -3, and 1 damage. This weapon always hits on a 5+, even when firing Overwatch, regardless of any modifiers. So it makes his bliss skill, that's just tests, I guess. Mastercrafted Man Reaper is a melee weapon, strength +3, turning into strength 7, AP -3, 3 damage, and is a plague weapon, so you're re-rolling those wound rolls of 1. The Blight Grenade is 6-inch range, grenade d6, strength 3, AP nothing, and 1 damage, and is a plague weapon, re-rolling 1s to wound. Now he has just Death to the False Emperor, disgustingly resilient. He is host of the Destroyer Hive. Friendly units of Poxwalkers increase their strength toughness by 1 whilst they are within 7 inches of Typhus. That's not nothing. That means Poxwalkers, the cheap little guys like we'll see in the troops video, are strength toughness 4. They're as strong and as tough as a Space Marine in that. That's not nothing. Nurgle's Gift. All Death Guard units within 7 inches of a friendly Lord of Contagion are surrounded by a deadly aura of plague and disease. Roll a dice for each enemy unit that is within 1 inch of any affected friendly units. At the start of your turn, on a 4+, that enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. Notice it's that unit, so you roll for the entire unit on a 4-up. The unit suffers a mortal wound. Teleport Strike. During deployment, you can set him up in Teleportarium Chamber at the end of any of your movement phases. Typhus can teleport into battle, set him up anywhere that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. So you can say you start with your Poxwalkers on the table and Typhus with a group of Terminators. They can drop on the table within that group of Poxwalkers or nearby, near enough to give them bonus and wreak some havoc that way. Catapracti Armor. Typhus has a 4-up invuln save, but you must have the result of the dice rolled when determining how far he advances. He is a Psyker. Typhus can attempt to manifest 2 psychic powers in each friendly phase, attempt to deny 1. He knows Smite, and 2 powers from the Contagion discipline. Faction keywords are Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic, Astartes, and Death Guard. Keywords are Character, Infantry, and Lord of Contagion, Terminator, Psyker, and Typhus. Alright, let's get some tactics on this guy. Now Typhus, I was like, he just is a big monster on his own. Toughness 5, so bolters are wounding him on 5s. That makes a big difference. A lot of melee weapons are wounding him on 5s, maybe 4s. But even then, he has this 4-up invuln and a 5-up disgusting resilient save to get through somehow. With his Mastercrafted Man Reaper, no, that doesn't... It's not -1 to hit with it or anything. It's just strength plus 3, turning into strength 7. If you get off certain powers or things like that, you might be able to increase Typhus' strength 8, where he's wounding on 2s, rerolling those ones to wound as well, which is ridiculous. So I definitely really like Typhus. At 164 points, he's really not that expensive to bring either. Get him, like I said, in a group with some Termies, drop him on behind a group of Poxwalkers, or even beside a group of Poxwalkers, so that everybody can assault in together, and that's just... you're just going to have a good day after that, I feel like. I like Typhus. I'm a Death Guard fan, though. If you guys watch any, a lot of the other videos, you're going to know that. But I'm a Typhus fan myself. I've used him in a few games, and he's never disappointed. The fact that he uses psychic powers, plus hits like a truck in melee, and is really hard to take down, he's just always done good for me. And I hope he does good for you as well. Little slow, yes, hence why I like deep striking him in, or bringing him in some kind of transport if you can. Now, our regular Lord of Contagion comes in at 7 power, and the points value for him is 120 points without any of his war gear. Lord of Contagion is a single model armed with a Plague Reaper. A Plague Reaper costs 30 points, plus the Lord of Contagion is 120, so he comes in at 150, bare bones as he is. It can replace its Plague Reaper with a Man Reaper, and in that case... the Man Reaper is 17 points, so he's 137 points if he goes down to a Man Reaper. We'll see the difference on those in a second. There we go. See a little bit better. So he comes in at 7 power. Lord of Contagion can move 4 inches, hits on 2, strength 4, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and a 2-up save. The Man Reaper, so the lesser of the two, less expensive, comes in at strength plus 3, AP negative 3, and D3 damage. So it turns into strength 7 base. Plague Reaper comes in strength plus 2, AP negative 3, and 3 damage. So it's going to be slightly harder to wound. Yes, you're wounding on 3s against a lot of stuff. 2s against more hordy things like Gaunts and Guardsmen and Tau, things like that. Pretty much also completely negating their armor save. The Plague Reaper, though, does 3 damage rather than possibly 1 damage. I think it's worth the extra points to me. Right, if I want to hit something hard, I can use some las cannons on a vehicle or something else rather than my Lord of Contagion in order to do that. I want him to be able to hold his own melee from there, basically, but not be the tank that other things that a tank, for example, can be. But once you get him up to the, 150 points, he's getting really close to just being Typhus. Like Typhus' cost at that point. So if I'm bringing Typhus, I could possibly bring a second Lord of Contagion as my second HQ, but I'm usually just going to bring Typhus. Abilities include Death to the False Emperor, Disgustingly Resilient, Nurgle's Gift. All Death Guard units within 7 inches of a friendly Lord of Contagion are surrounded by a deadly aura. So the same thing as Typhus, roll a die for each enemy unit within 1 inch of any friendly unit on a 4-up suffers mortal wound. Catapracti Armor is 4-up invuln save, but have the results of advancing. And Teleport Strike. Faction keywords are Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic, Astartes, and Death Guard. Keywords are Character, Infantry, Terminator, and Lord of Contagion. So let's look at it this way. Typhus coming in at 164 points. Lord of Contagion with a Plague Reaper coming in at 150 points. For 14 more points, I get a Psyker and the Destroyer Hive, right? And host of the Destroyer Hive, buffing up any of my Poxwalkers. Right, that seems a lot better to me for 14 points. I'd rather take Typhus. I'm very rarely going to bring a Lord of Contagion, unless I'm really trying to shave points for some reason, or trying to get a lot of command points by having a lot of detachments or whatever. So, yeah, not a big fan. The Chaos Lord, so our vanilla Chaos Lord, comes in at 5 power. Can move 6 inches, hits on 2, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks. Leadership 9, a 3-up save. Is single model armed with a chainsword, bolt pistol, blight grenades, and crack grenades. Chaos Lord is 74 points. Now his chainsword is free, his bolt pistol is free. Blight grenades our ranged weapon are free, and crack grenades are also free. So it comes in 74 points stock, but they often won't stay stock unless, again, you're trying to bring a lot of attachments, get a lot of command points. This model may replace its bolt pistol with a plasma pistol. A plasma pistol being... a lot of papers here. Being 7 points, or with an item from the combi weapons or melee weapons list. This model may replace its chainsword with 1 item from the melee weapons list. I don't know about you guys, but my standard build on any kind of like Chaos Lord is usually Power Sword Plasma Pistol. Personally, that's what I usually do. So that's an 11-point increase, because with our Plasma Pistol being 7 and our Power Sword being 4 points, 11, plus our 74 points for our Lord on its own is 85 points. That's not bad for a Lord. Just basic Lord. You can bring a couple of those, leading a couple little detachments, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, Bolt Pistol, shoot 12 inches, Pistol 1, Strength 4, AP nothing, 1 damage. The Plasma Pistol has 2 modes now, of course. When attacking with it, choose 1. Both are 12-inch range, Pistol 1. The standard is Strength 7, AP -3, and 1 damage. The Supercharged is Strength 8, AP -3, and 2 damage, but on a hit roll of 1, the bearer is slain. However, this being our Chaos Lord, he has the Lord of Nurgle special rule, meaning you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Death Guard units within 6 inches of him, including himself. So 1 in 36 chance that if you supercharge his pistol, he's going to die. Yeah, 1 in 36, it's never going to happen. It happens. Trust me, it does. His Chain Sword, if you bring one, is Strength User, AP nothing, 1 damage. Each time it fights, you can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. The Blight Grenade is 6-inch grenade D6, Strength 3, AP nothing, 1 damage. It has Plague Weapon, so you can reroll once to wound. And Crack Grenade, 6-inch range, grenade 1, Strength 6, AP -1, D3 damage. Now, let's just remind everybody of our Power Sword stat line is Melee Strength User, so in this case Strength 4, AP -3, and 1 damage. That's our regular Power Sword stat line. So -3, turning most saves into 6s or just flat out negating them is what I like. So makes him proficient in melee and a proficient ranged guy. Just to fill out your Lord slot, fill out your HQ slot is nice. So he has Death to the False Emperor to reroll those hits against Imperium models. Lord of Nurgle, rerolling his hit rolls of 1, made friendly Death Guard within 6 inches of him. And Sigil Corruption giving a 4-up invuln save. It's nice that that is built in now. You used to have to pay for that. Faction keywords are Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic Astartes, and Death Guard. Keywords are Character, Infantry, and Chaos Lord. So I like Chaos Lord is my HQ if I ever just need to, like, okay, I need my HQ slot. I want to bring a lot of big, expensive, flashy stuff, and I just need to put something in an HQ slot. Or if you're doing one of the attachments that requires more than 1 HQs, this is going to be your second one. Because still, it's not the cheapest you can get, but it's still effective. Right? You're not paying... It's not a tax, basically, at that point. It can do a little bit of damage. Our Chaos Lord in Terminator armor can move 5 as a power cost of 6. Can move 5 inches, hits on 2s, Strength 4, Toughness 4, 6 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and a 2-up save, of course, because he's in Terminator armor. And he, on his own, costs 105 points. He's single model armed with a Power Sword and Combi Bolter. So that's going to bring him in at 111 points. But the nice thing is he comes with his Power Sword and Combi Bolter, so you don't have to worry about having to pay for that. Now, the Combi Bolter is a 24-inch range, rapid fire 2, Strength 4, AP nothing, 1 damage. So if you're within 12 inches, of course, you're going to fire 4 shots. What are your options? You can replace its Combi Bolter with 1 item from the Combi Weapons list or Terminator Melee Weapons list. This model may replace its Power Sword with 1 item from the Terminator Melee Weapons list. So, of course, you can bring like Twin Lightning Claws for another 12 points to replace the Power Sword and Combi Bolter, making him only 1 point more and a total of 117 for a really shreddy Nurgle Terminator Lord. But, again, how I usually use him is the Power Sword, and depending on what role I want him to fulfill, possibly Combi Flamer, possibly Combi Plasma. Depends what's going on, but that's how my usual build on those. Abilities include Death of the False Emperor, Lord of Nurgle, so again, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for Death Guard units within 6 inches of him. Sigil of Corruption, this model has a 4-up invuln save, and Teleport Strike. So you can drop him in before your shooting phase, make sure all your friendly units within 6 inches of him are rerolling those 1s. Faction keywords, Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic, Astartes, Death Guard. Keywords, Character, Infantry, Terminator, and Chaos Lord. I honestly won't often bring a Chaos Lord and Terminator armor unless I have the points for him above the regular Lord, and I have some Termies in a tank or Termies in Deep Strike that I want him to join and kind of help buff up. Unless I want them to kind of be my Death Star moving across the table, even though those aren't as much of a thing anymore. And like I said, I prefer bringing the big name characters, like especially Typhus, because he's so cheap and really good in this. But I usually either max out my slot or min my slot personally. Depends how you guys play. It depends what you're going up against. Again, it's all a little relative. But Chaos Lord and Terminator, I won't bring him often. He said, it's either Typhus for me or often just a bare bones Chaos Lord. I just love the quotes in this book are so cool as well. So pause for a second on that. Upon the seventh night they attacked at last, striding through the gloaming like nightmares made flesh. At their head came a fell champion of Nurgle, a fly-blown horror that seemed impervious to mortal weapons. Because they're disgustingly resilient. They have a 5-up, come on. Sorcerer is a power level of 6. And as far as points goes, he costs 90 points. He can move 6 inches, hits on 3s, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, 3-up save. He's a single model armed with a force sword, bolt pistol, blight grenades, and crack grenades. The force sword costing him 12 points, so it turns into 102 points on his own with his bare bone self. So again, you can replace, with anything comes with his bolt pistol. You can replace that with a plasma pistol. Or one item from the common weapons list. You can replace its force sword with a force stave or force axe. Difference between those. The force sword is a strength user, AP -3, D3 damage. Force stave being strength +2, AP -3, D3 damage. Force axe being strength +1, AP -2, D3 damage. What I'm going to be either bringing a lot is usually just the force axe or the base force sword. The force axe coming in points-wise at 16 points restores 4 more points to be able to wound a lot of things on 3s and lessen their armor save by 1. So with a -3 armor save, you're often, yes, just negating a lot or making a 6-up, but you're wounding on 4s because you're a strength user. I'd rather wound on 3s and give them a 5-up, but for a lot of units, it's still just going to be a 6-up, right? Let's see what else. Hedge has Death to the False Emperor, and as a Psyker, can manifest 2 psychic powers and tip to deny 1. No Smite, and 2 powers from the Contagion discipline. Faction keywords are Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic Astartes, Death Guard. Keywords are Character, Infantry, Psyker, and Sorcerer. Again, this is not personally one of my faves. I've said it again, you'll hear me say it before. I will often bring Chaos Lord, and in this case, Typhus. Typhus can cast powers. Typhus is better in melee. Typhus can be just as good at range, and I don't see the need for my Sorcerer anymore, unfortunately. Now again, if you guys have lists, builds, arguments, please put them in the comment section down below. Sorcerer and Terminator armor, we're just going to go through this one pretty quick. Costs 8 power, or 140 points, big jump up. Moves 5, hits 3s, strength, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, and a 2-up save. Is a single model armed with a force stave and combi bolter. So he's 140 points base, plus that force stave of 14 points, making 154, plus the combi bolter, making 156 points, 8 points shy of Typhus. Keep that in mind. Buy Typhus model. Warrior options. Can replace its combi bolter with one of the combi weapons or Terminator melee weapons list. This model may replace its force stave with a force axe, force sword, or an item from the Terminator melee weapons list. It has Death to the False Emperor. It's a Terminator armor with a 5-up invuln save and teleport strike. This model can attempt to manifest 2 powers, attempt to deny 1, and no Smite, and 2 powers from the Contagion discipline. Faction keywords are Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic Astartes, Death Guard. Keywords are Character, Infantry, Terminator, Psyker, and Sorcerer. So we have our Malignant Plague Caster, one of our new characters. His power level is 6, and on his own, he costs 110 points. He's a single armed with a Corrupted Staff, Bolt Pistol, Blight Grenades, and Crack Grenades. Now a Corrupted Staff is free, so he, on his own, his Malignant Plague Caster self, costs 110 points. So his Corrupted Staff is a melee weapon at strength +2, so strength 6, AP -1, and D3 damage. So he's going to wound a lot of stuff on 3s, which is nice, with a slight modifier. He has Death of the False Emperor and Disgusting Resilient. Has Pestilent Fallout. Each time this model successfully manifests a psychic power with a psychic test of 7 or more, which most of them are around that anyway. The nearest enemy unit within 7 inches suffers a mortal wound after the effects of the psychic power have been resolved. Psyker, this model can attempt to manifest 2 in each psychic phase, attempt to deny 1. It knows a Smite psychic power and 2 powers from the Contagion discipline. Faction keywords are Chaos, Nurgle, Heretic Astartes, and Death Guard. Keywords are Character, Infantry, Psyker, and Malignant Plague Caster. So personally, if I'm going to bring a caster type person, it's going to be this guy. because of his Pestilent Fallout. He's going to be my sitting back there, right behind the melee lines, casting powers onto things, doing a mortal wound. So his smite essentially does 1 plus D3 or 1 plus D6, right? Just makes his smite that much better, first of all. So I just want a smite caster. This is going to be that guy. But it's also going to be if I happen to want to just like lessen the toughness of a unit or lessen the strength of a unit. Oh, tack on a mortal wound. Okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. So I'm going to bring a caster unit. It's not going to be a sorcerer because it's going to be this guy. We get a nice close-up of him casting things and that gross gun. Those poor, poor scouts. Those poor, poor scouts. So that is, we'll finish off with our Malignant Plague Caster. That's our last HQ unit for this video. I hope you guys liked it. This is kind of going to be our new format for our Codex reviews. We're going to be doing the Astra Militarum video like this as well, and when there's some time, when they stop releasing new codexes, holy cow, we're going to go back and do the ones we missed as well. We're going to be starting with this Death Guard Codex review. I hope you guys like it. If you have any comments, disagree with me, agree with me, love to hear from you in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all those things that let people know what Gas City Gaming is doing. Hope to hear from you guys again. I love being back for you guys. Took the summer off. I know we had a bit of an absence there with summer, but we'll be also live streaming a few more gaming videos and stuff like that too. But lots more 40k content coming your guys' way. Hope to hear from you again. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, those buttons down below. Please help me out a little bit. Love to be here for you guys, so please be there for me. Have an awesome rest of your day, and remember, as always, the Emperor protects.